Wow. Okay. Lollers, it's that time where we're going to be reviewing the updated patch notes this time for 11.5. This is going to be the patch where we see if they finally nerf Udyr jungle. We're going to find out. So, quick little overview here that they provide. First, the jungle, the mighty jungle. Champs like Master Yi and Sejuani have been a bit of a jam, so they're probably going to get buffed. And then others like Udyr and Rammus have been on full tilt. So it looks like they're finally going to address those types of champs that kind of have the turbo chemtech move speed, just letting them run rampant in the jungle. So probably some nerfs on those, and then adding more rules to some items like Ginsu's Rage Blade. That's pretty much a straight Senna nerf. It's probably going to be because she was way too strong with that item. Yeah, so let's get into it here. Some champs here, so a bunch of champs getting nerfs and buffs. Anytime you see Jax and Master Yi getting buffed up, that could spell some danger if you don't play those champs. And then some item changes here and a few new skins with the B line, I guess. Okay, so champions. Azir, W Sand Soldier damage has been decreased. Sure, whatever. I mean, if you play Azir, that's cool. Gragas Q cost now flat, so that is flat at 80 right now. So pushing back the beefed up top lane Gragas by increasing the ticket price on his barrels. I never ran into that many Gragases in my casual gameplay, but you know, probably a good nerf for him. Jax, this guy's getting buffed, so base damage growth has been increased. Jacked up Jax's packs, the max attacks with Trinity, so sure, try to say that 3 times fast. It looks like he's going to get a base damage growth, a small little bump up there, so nothing too crazy, I don't think. The Karma Q cooldown decrease here is actually looking pretty significant. The second at the start down, yeah, so a full second down across the board. I don't know if it's going to make too much of a difference, but definitely could be a little bit more spammable now as a support. Kog'Maw, W bonus damage increased later on. So, cool. Trying to bring this guy back into the meta. He's been out of the meta for a really long time. Master E, what are they doing to this crazy man? E base damage increased. Oh man, that's the true damage, I think, right? So, with the last set of nerfs in patch 11.1 and jungle changes, Master Yi had found himself in a tough spot, putting the alpha in his strike to help all his builds and playstyles, especially those more reliant on attack speed. So that's a small buff, 2 damage at the start, maybe 10 at the end. I don't think it's too crazy. Pyke, you know, this guy, no matter what they do, he seems to still be strong. I don't know what they're going to try and do in this patch here to really bring him down. So passive gray health storage has been decreased and now adds lethality and increases when enemies are nearby. So it looks like they're really trying to force him into a support role only, because now it looks like his gray health storage is going to go up if there's 2 or more enemies nearby. So they're really trying to push him into that support role as opposed to mid. I don't really understand this. Like when Riot releases a champion, if the player base naturally just wants to use it mid more, like he's an assassin with an execute, let the people play him mid. Like, it's no big deal. You're gonna release like another 5 champs in that year. Like, I'm sure you can release another support that's OP like Seraphine. So just, I don't know, kind of a fan of just like, if naturally is better in a role, just let it exist in that role instead of trying to always tweak the numbers to force it into a support when it's probably just a better mid lane roaming assassin. But that's me. Kiana, she's been down in the dumps for a long time with her win rate, I think. So the W bonus damage has been increased and R damage increased later. So let's see how big of a damage increase this is. So the bonus damage from W is plus AP now. Instead of 30% AP, it's 45% AP, but the numbers scale up a bit later as you level it up. Nothing too crazy up front, I don't think. And then the Supreme Display of Talent, the damage there is going up by about 60 points in the full ranked ability. So I don't know, I mean, Assassin, Snowball-y early game. I don't know how much this is going to affect her. Really, with these types of picks, you're looking to snowball very quick. So if some of these boosts are coming in the later portion of the game, I'm sure it'll help her scaling, but I don't know how effectively to help her snowball. Rammus, let's see, how did they nerf this guy? Base health growth decreased. Wow, 95 to 80. Okay, so a little bit less tanky. Morel, base armor decreased. W1 and W2 cooldown increased. Okay, so just a couple of quick changes here. I mean, 2 seconds is significant on the cooldown. So that's going to be up a little bit less often, and then same thing with that second W. So yeah, I would say it's a pretty big nerf there. 2 seconds is going to feel like a little bit longer early game anyway. Samira, they kind of nerfed her into the ground in the last patch, so they're buffing her up a bit here. Base damage growth increased and Q damage ratio increased later on. We'll see if that brings her back into favor. Sejuani, the W second hit damage ratio increased. I mean, ganking junglers are a little bit more popular now since the recent XP nerfs to the jungle, so this could make her a little bit more of a top pick or a contested pick, but you know, still a tank jungler. And I don't know if she's as kind of obnoxious as Rammus and Udyr with the Chemtech, so I don't know if there's still a spot for her to be one of your top picks in the jungle. Okay, Seraphine, what the heck are they doing to this person here? Because she's been way too powerful. Passive subsequent note damage DK removed, and note damage from allies reduced, and the R cooldown increased. So, okay, so they're just basically hitting some of her damage. Maybe this will prevent her from being a highly contested pick as ADC, because I think she had the highest win rate as ADC role for a while. And then the R cooldown kind of going up, it looks like early by 20 seconds. I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference unless they actually nerf her R in some other way other than time. I don't know if it's actually going to push her down on the tier list. So Shaco, W base damage and single target base damage decrease now deals increased damage to monsters. Okay, so Shaco has been spooking the bejesus out of bot lane, but he's been clowning around the jungle, so we're adjusting accordingly. I'm okay with this. This actually kind of makes sense. Maybe, you know, give him a little bit of a better clear speed in the jungle and not have to be so reliant on only ganking to be successful. Maybe you can actually like have some decent farm and XP by mid game. Trundle Q cooldown decreased, so that went down half a second. You're going to feel that. I think half a second on a 4-second ability, you're going to feel that, especially with some Q cooldown reduction. Yeah, this could be a good little buff for this guy in the jungle and top lane. Twitch AP rat is strong, AD rat feels wrong, recalibrating. Yeah, so they're going to add some damage ratio here, or sorry, they're going to nerf the damage ratio from 3% down to 2.5%, and then they're going to add damage to his R, and the duration is going to go up by 1 second. So I guess just trying to shift him more to that attack damage. Udyr here, his base health growth has decreased from 99 to 92, big changes there, and the R aura total damage has been decreased, again by, you know, a small amount. It'll kind of reduce his clear speed, I guess, a little bit, and his clear kind of health a little bit more. Vigo, this guy, I think the big one here to note is going to be this passive Sovereign's Domain. Vigo no longer dodges turret shots that are in the air when he starts the possession animation. I think this is probably going to reduce a lot of tilt that people had playing against this guy with some of his turret diving ability and ease. There's some other general bug fixes that they did with him, but you know, I suspect this won't be the last bug fixes we see on this guy. And then items, the Mirror Mana heavily overlaps with Essence Reaver. I agree, like, to be honest, there's a lot of champs that instead of building Mirror Mana, just build Essence Reaver. Get a little bit more upfront with it. So in both stats and use cases, so to better differentiate between the two, we're changing Mirror Mana's proc to focus more on empowering abilities, whereas Essence Reaver empowers auto attacks. So that'll be interesting to see if this actually comes through. So basic attacks are going to deal a percentage off your max mana now, and melee abilities deal, okay, cool. So we'll just see. I don't think there's going to be any clear cut on this one up front. We'll just have to see if people still gravitate towards the Essence Reaver as a first item over this. Stride Breaker, this is going to be a big update here for this patch. So Stride Breaker's dash didn't feel as powerful as its slash. Essentially what they're doing here is the range on the dash is going up, the damage, or sorry, the speed is being slightly increased, and the slow is being decreased, okay, and as well as the damage. So essentially what they're giving you here is more mobility and less damage. And I think that's going to be very dangerous, because the champs that were already abusing this wanted the mobility aspect of it with some slow to let them close the distance, like Darius and Renekton, for example. This was pretty powerful on. So I still think you're going to see a lot of fighters and bruisers really abusing this item in patch 11.5. The Rage Blade, certain champions like Senna benefit too much from the Rage Blade when you consider the fact that a crit strike chance can scale over 100% and it ignores crit damage modifiers, so we're adding some rules to circumvent these edge cases, allowing for more item diversity with those champions and help us better tune the item to use. Listen, they should have just said, we're changing this so that Senna can't abuse it. That's all this is right now. Serpent's Fang is a powerful but underwhelming and confusing item, so we're making it more broadly usable. Imagine Grievous Wounds for shields, but with extra profits. I've honestly never even built this item, I don't think, once, so that's cool. Mauve Malmortius is dropping in price to be a more attractive and affordable defensive option. Sure, like, I don't know, I just hate building defensively, honestly. Like, if you're losing and you try and build defensively, you're just going to continue to lose, so I'm of the mindset just build aggro most of your games, unless you're playing a tank that scales off of the tank stats. Just keep building aggro. And then Black Cleaver, adjusting to be better suited for longer fights while packing it with more punch for its cost. So what are they doing here? The total cost is going down by 200. The health is going up by 100. They're removing the bonus physical damage, but they're adding Rage. Dealing physical damage to a champion grants 5 movement speed. Very interesting. This could be another great option now for a second item or a first item for some of the fighters and bruisers up top, so that'll be pretty cool. There's a few other in-game shop updates here. I don't think we'll bother covering those off, and some bug fixes. And then the skins. I mean, I'm not really excited for any of these skins. I don't necessarily play a lot of Malzahar, Kog'Maw, or Yuumi, but I mean, with the Cog buffs and a skin, you know, could be a good option now if you wanted to pick up a new skin on him and try him out. If he's going to be a bit more powerful, give him a go. Anyway, guys, that's patch 11.5, so best of luck with your games in this patch, and if any questions, let me know in the comments below. Have a good one.